Seattle area sandwich chain to close 10 stores, 10 of its 12 stores, citing rising labor costs. Some say this amounts to nothing more than union busting. Yeah, but when you close 10 of 12, what are you left with? Dose? Let's get into it. Here we go. Seattle area sustainably sourced sandwich restaurant chain Homegrown will be closing 10 stores, leaving only 2. The closures mean more than 150 employees will be laid off. Homegrown CEO and co-founder Brad Gillis said, as reported by the Puget Sound Business Journal on Monday, that economic impacts, rising labor costs, and food prices have led to the decision. What it comes down to is in Seattle, when you've had this fairly balanced market as far as your labor costs go for fast food industry, for fast food restaurants, and now you're seeing that spike up pretty hard. It'll be over $20 by 2025. A lot of businesses can't afford that. It's not basically within their structure to do so. You might say, well, that's terrible because, cost of living is way more in Seattle, which it is. I get that. We all get that. But when the business economics dictate that the company can't make a profit, this is what happens. Business closes down. This decision was incredibly difficult to make, but one that we feel was absolutely necessary. So you're going to close 10 of your 12 stores. Ugh. Gillis said his current model would be unsustainable if the stores were kept open. Homegrown, according to its website, was founded with the mission of reducing environmental waste. Okay. Crafting the best food. All right. That's admirable. Providing exceptional service. Okay. Doesn't everybody say that? And cultivating the community. I've never eaten there, but from what I understand, they had really good food and they were trying to go down this road that is essentially unsustainable. Now, what I jokingly said to my buddy Mike was, yeah, because, frying your food in fat is so much cheaper than, sourcing it from this organic. This is all 100%. You know what I mean? I grow a bunch of organic food. I grow a bunch of, vegetables and stuff, and it's expensive to do it the right way. Fry everything in fat. You betcha. It tastes way better and not better for you. It's terrible for you, but it just tastes so much better, right? So you've got these stores that, we're going to go down this road of, it's going to be sustainable. And we're all going to sing Kumbaya at the end. They try, but then they realize, okay, all fast food has a tiny little margin, right? That's just what they operate on, is thin little margins. And if you've already got a bunch of costs in there that are way more than, call it McDonald's or Burger King or whatever that you're competing with, and then your labor just continues to skyrocket and go up, then essentially we're left with what we've got here, which is game over. And it's not just this sandwich shop. This is Jason Rants. Panic. Don't worry. We'll get back to the other one. Panic as Seattle restaurants may not survive massive minimum wage shift. That's what you're seeing happen. And you know what? Businesses, you can shove this stuff down businesses' throats all you want. But at the end of the day, if they can't make a profit, they'll close their doors. And that's what you're seeing happen right now. Homegrown's Mercer Island and downtown Seattle locations will remain open, but its Capitol Hill, Kirkland, Queen Anne, Redmond, South Lake Union, South Center, and U Village restaurants will close, and with them, 158 employees laid off. So here's where it kind of gets interesting. However, the company, according to the Business Journal, has not always had the best relationship with its workers' union. Okay. Including a 119-day strike at 2 restaurants. All right. Is this union busting? Is that what we've got going on here? Yeah, maybe. Scooch. But do they open up some of those other restaurants down the road? Do they reopen them up down the road? Do they come up with a plan? Do they come up with a miraculous investor and make things happen? Through our 2 remaining stores, we will continue our mission of growing with purpose, serving our communities with quality, sustainable food, and playing our part in changing the food system so future generations can live in greater harmony with the earth. Okay, Yeah, I just wanted a good sandwich. That's all I wanted. And what I understand is that sandwiches at this place, Homegrown, are really good. It's really good. But even if they're really good, it doesn't matter if your company isn't turning a profit. And so many of these big West Coast liberal cities are just jacking up that minimum wage. We're trying to make it more affordable for everybody. Okay. Yeah. Understood. West Coast is, some of the most expensive stuff around. Housing here is just incredibly expensive. And I get it. You can't make a go of it at minimum wage, even if that's at $20 an hour. But going back to that, if you don't have it in the budget as a business, then you're just going to close down. You're just going to close down. You don't have the ability to make up for it with goodwill, meaning, hey, my sandwiches are really, really good. It doesn't matter if you're not turning a profit. Nobody cares. Out you go. Out you go. So the Jason Rantz article, it goes on to say, for some Seattle restaurants, the minimum wage going over $20 an hour will add about $45,000 in expenses per month that they simply don't have. When Seattle leaders hastily passed a $15 minimum wage hike, they offered a 10-year ramp-up period for small businesses with 500 or fewer. Under the current formula, restaurants may pay $17.25 an hour if their employees earn yada, 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 yada. Restaurants will have few options when navigating this momental change when it goes to over $20 an hour. They could completely change their business models and keep an hourly wage, though that could come up with significant layoffs or major increases in menu prices and new fees on diners. Bottom line is that there's only so many things you can do. You can only squeeze so many costs. And then you come down to the reality, all right, maybe we shut down 10 of our stores. Maybe we shut down the vast majority of our stores. And we're just left with a couple that absolutely make sense because they're located in areas where people have the discretionary income to pay for expenses that other areas, the consumers that's not in the budget. We're not in the budget today. Not happening. And so they've got to shut down a bunch of stores. You are seeing this consistently happen with this whole notion of, well, we need a working living wage. All right. But that's got to coincide with the ability for a company to make a profit. Sean, they're making money hand over fist. Well, to that, I would say Homegrown isn't. Homegrown is not. And you know what you see so consistently? And it goes back to the frying food in, grease is just cheaper and it tastes better, right? Arguably it does. Some people want to say, but no, there's nothing. Give me a good fresh vegetable. Maybe biting into that really fresh carrot. That's all. That's the ticket for me. I like some really good butter crunch lettuce. Who doesn't like a good butter crunch lettuce? But it doesn't really compare to a really good, set of fries, French fries, just deep fried, maybe crispy. Right. That's going to, reduce your life expectancy considerably, but it tastes way better than that other stuff, right? Not good for you, but you get what I'm saying. So many of these companies that try and go down this pathway of, all right, we're going to be good to the environment. We're going to be good to here. We're going to be good to here. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be the greatest restaurant. I remember it just doesn't work out, does it? Because you can't do all of that and compete with your fellow fast food restaurant that fires everything in grease. It's just not doable. You can't compete with lard. You just can't. Fat will beat you all day long. And so that's, it's harsh to go down that road. I remember during the pandemic, right at the beginning of the pandemic, we were doing kind of these little spots on restaurants around Seattle area. We had a little restaurant up in, it was a bar. It was a bar, kind of tavern-ish, that was in Snohomish, and it was the Washington State's only co-op bar. It was owned in co-op ownership. And I always remember thinking, this place is not going to make it. Well, we were caught because they had gone down this whole sustainable thing, and we're a co-op. It's the greatest thing ever. We're all going to share in the money. It's great. It's great. And I just remember asking the owners, is this viable? I came right out and said it, and the wife or the female partner was like, and the husband, he was just all into this co-op bar deal. He was like, oh yeah, we're going to be fine. And the girlfriend, wife, partner, whatever, she was like, And we never even released that video because they didn't make it through the pandemic. They didn't have the margin to make it. It was a great idea. And it was, run by some liberal people that had great, plans of how they're going to revolutionize the bar business, the restaurant business, and they went under. They never came out of the pandemic. But that's, it's not necessarily because of, their choices. But when you're competing against everybody else who is already at a lower cost of doing business, then you're going to have a tough time. And so, sustainable, that's tough. That's tough. And now just operating a restaurant in Seattle, period, like we're talking about here, is Seattle restaurants may not survive massive minimum wage shift. Because when you take your, cost of your employees and you jack that up 25% or more, you may not have it in the budget. And so you're just not making any money. And so you go, oof, yeah, not in Seattle. Game over. Next. And you shut your business down. Just as simple as that. But I think there are so many people in Seattle and in Seattle type environments where they virtue signal and they think, we can get this done. But at the end of the day, you're competing with that lowest common denominator, and that's like McDonald's. Yeah. Do not enjoy eating there. But, dollar for dollar, it's fairly affordable-ish. I think for the quality of food, it's not. But you get what I'm saying. If you want to drive down to your fast food restaurant, eat there versus someplace else that has the sustainable whatever, laundry list of why I should feel good eating there. Kind of tough to make that decision, right? You can't justify, well, it's sustainable. Yeah, we've got, sourced food here. Okay. Yeah, you can kind of scoot by on that a little while. But then, with the minimum wage shift, not happening. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.